Good morning. My name is Millicent Williams, and I am a daughter, a sister, and a mother. My son, Ethan Thomas, is a 20-year-old amazing young man who I've had the pleasure and opportunity to be able to raise. What makes Ethan special and makes our relationship special is that Ethan is on the autism spectrum. And having to parent a child who is on the spectrum requires something different out of you. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to raise Ethan. He's taught me to be patient and loving and kind in ways that I didn't know I was capable of being. And by parenting him, I've been able to create opportunities to share with others about how my experience has shaped me as a person and allowed me to impact Ethan's life in a way that would allow him to be a successful adult. Sure. So at about 18 to 20 months, I realized that Ethan was not as verbal as a lot of children are at that age. The tendency, of course, of a young parent is to compare your child to other children. So he wasn't doing a lot of the things that other children were doing as related to speaking. He had the motor skills, or at least a lot of motor skills, and he seemed to be able to connect with people. He was social, but he wasn't saying anything. And so, in our culture, often people will say, oh, he'll talk when he's ready. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He's fine. And I believed that and wanted to believe that. And so while I observed that things were different, I didn't necessarily do as much as I could have at that point to understand what that difference might have been. So when Ethan turned about 3 years old, he did get an evaluation. And because the speech was still delayed and there were some developmental delays and there were some challenges with him connecting with others at that point in ways that were healthy and productive. And so we had some analysis done, some testing done, and received a diagnosis that I was really, taken by and disappointed by. And then watch your child closely, figure out what works. And, a lot of people used to say to me, and I mentioned it a little earlier, you let Ethan watch too much television. Well, yeah, maybe I did. But when you're dealing with food aversion and you're dealing with occasional outbursts and you can't understand the words that are coming out of their mouth, and you see the frustration in their expression when they can't express. He couldn't find the words to say what he wanted to say. But he had a moment of peace when he was watching those animated shows. He felt comfortable. And so I had to realize that I couldn't let what the world was imposing upon me about what I should be doing and how I should be raising my child to impact the daily interactions that he would have with things and systems and opportunities. And, the interesting thing, the blessing, is that, yeah, he did have a lot of screen time. He did watch a lot of public television. I mean, it was productive. I thought it was good TV, but it was TV. Is his chosen path is to be a voice actor. And so the first full sentences that he spoke when he was about 5, because he used to say words and do what's called echolalian speech. So he would hear something and he would, he would just do the cadence, but he wouldn't say the word. And I just knew what he was saying because either I had been around or I saw what he was talking about or he would point. But when he started speaking in sentences, he was mimicking the words that he would see on television. And then what I realized later is not only was he saying the words, but he was picking up on the voices and the inflections and the accents. And so now he wants to be a voice actor. And on a dime, he can do 70 different voices and accents. And sometimes I think there are 10 people in the house and it's just me and him.
This is E the Voice, and today I'll do some of my favorite cartoon characters. you will hear from Winnie the Pooh's Tigger, Family Guy's Stewie, Brian, and Peter Griffin, Disney's Goofy, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, and South Park's Cartman. First up is Tigger.
Hello, I'm Tigger. That's that's me.
Next up is Stewie, Brian, and Peter Griffin.
Hey, you got some pie, huh? Can I have a piece?
Sure.
Ooh, let me have some Cool Whip.
What'd you say?
You can have a pie with a Cool Whip.
Cool Whip?
Yeah, Cool Whip, yeah.
You mean Cool Whip?
Yeah, Cool Whip.
Hi there, I'm Peter Griffin. Oh, hi, Brian. Hi, Stewie.
Next up, Goofy.
Gosh.
Oh, we calling again? The next voices are Shaggy and Scooby-Doo.
Zoinks! Like Scoob!
Maggie?
And finally, Cartman from South Park.
No, you nah, me nah. Screw you guys. I'm gonna hit.
That was just a sample. More to come from E the Voice.
Thing is, give it everything you can, just to just pour into them so much support that they feel celebrated when they finish that thing, whether it's a test or, you know, I did the cooking, and whether it was a recipe, you know, however you can do it. But when I would cook, even Ethan would become the Swedish chef from the Muppets, you know. But you know, that the things that people think aren't for good end up being the very thing that will change his life. Very concerned about making sure that everybody feels loved, appreciated, respected, and you know, it's helped me to ensure that in my daily walk that I treat people with love and respect and compassion and empathy, because you know, as much as a parent is supposed to model for their child, my child is a model for me in a lot of ways. The way that I was able to kind of muster enough strength in those really difficult times was just remind myself that accepting it was okay. And you know, I'll often do a hashtag different, not less, defying the diagnosis. I just had to be okay with everything not being perfect and depend on my faith, and you know that it sounds cliche, and I know people say it all the time, you know, God won't give you anything more than you can bear, but you have to believe that, and you have to believe that whatever it is within you that caused you to be the parent that had the opportunity to raise this child, God knew that you could handle it.